This is the GV Podcast, a variety review podcast featuring two of the three idiots giving their thoughts on cartoons and anime. This is an opinion-based podcast, and there's no way we're saying our thoughts and opinions are objective. Keep this in mind and enjoy the show. I didn't know until now that I'm deathly allergic to bullets. Hello everybody, my name is Mayhem.
I'm Duke, and aren't most people?
And today, we have a new special guest with us. He's going to introduce himself right now.
I'm introducing myself. This is Highlander83 coming to you live.
Yep, and today we have a special... And here you are, swearing at every opportune moment. In the first 30 seconds! Okay, you got like 5 more seconds.
Fart.
And what are we doing today, Duke?
Today, we are doing a new series, which... kind of continuation of what we've done before, in all fairness, because for over a year, we went in and did the DC stuff. We did the DC AU.
Oh, thank God it's not anime.
No, I've decided actually now I'm changing it to anime. No! But it's, we did the DCAU for over a year. We went through all those cartoons related to it, except for Zeta Project, but no one remembers Zeta Project, so who cares?
I don't even know what that is.
Remember that
anybody does.
I was gonna say, remember that robot? Remember that robot in Batman Beyond?
Oh God!
Oh
God! We do not need an explanation of.
I know what you're talking about now. So please,
There was a spin-off about him.
What are we doing today, Duke?
Today we are going in and doing a review of some 80s cartoons.
80s.
Starting off with, obviously, the biggest possible one.
They didn't have cartoons in the 1880s?
Yes, they did, but you had to read them.
Yeah.
So in other words, yeah. So we are reading.
We are reading of Mice and Men or whatever.
Imagine how awful that'd be as a podcast.
It's just book club.
As a podcast, just a book club of 1880s cartoons. That sounds horrendous.
Here we are. That's it. We're
Garfield's
done.
not
Bye.
been born yet. Garfield's not been born yet.
What is the name of this cartoon?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I have seen very little about this one. The only thing that I've been seeing recently is this one meme where Shredder is like in the turtle cave, and he's literally just carrying a pile of pizzas, and he just goes, "How's it going, bros? It's the Shredder! Where?"
Yeah.
That is an actual episode, but we'll say that for a later time, actually.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So Highlander, we brought you on for this series because you have a history with the Turtles and 80s cartoons, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely, yes. I grew up with the 80s cartoons, was obsessed with Ninja Turtles growing up, had all the figures until one of my sister's children decided to borrow my toys and then sell them at a garage sale instead of giving them back like they were supposed to. So, yes, that was major heartbreaking.
Wasn't this one?
Way to out yourself.
Just was not this one.
It was not it's not the one that was here. The one that is here.
Present company excluded.
Present company excluded, but he's sharing his siblings' debt.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I helped out. I got you the van.
No, you got me the pizza thrower. You did not give me the van.
Pizza thrower. I got you the pizza thrower. That's
just
something.
That's just something. Why do you need to buy a pizza thrower? You just have hands. God gave you hands for a reason.
Yeah, but the pizza thrower that you're thinking of, your hands, that doesn't break shins. Trust me, my mom's familiar.
Oh, God.
Yes, quite an infamous story about me and that pizza thrower because it does fling those plastic dicks quite hard. And I was very good aim with it.
Mayhem, imagine hearing this story every so often of just hearing just...
Oh, God.
And then all you hear in the distance is and then a run off.
That sound is familiar to me with like Nerf darts, but it's just a Nerf dart where it's just dunk.
Yeah, it's a Nerf dart, but it's a little plastic disc launching at your shin.
This is before they decided maybe foam would be better to launch.
I never aimed for the shins. I did the ankles.
They got shin guards. I got accurate.
So obviously, Highlander, you went in and you watched it as a kid. That was what you grew up with. Mayhem, you have your whole experience of you've seen some bits of it.
I've
heard
seen
some
bits and pieces. It's
Yeah.
never reliable, and if it's not anything that happened in the last 20 minutes, I don't remember
I was
it.
gonna say Turtles as a whole for both you guys. What's your experience?
It's one of those series for me. It's one of those series that just it was always around. I knew that it was good, but I never really got into it.
My experience is I was into it. Like I said, I had all the figures, had all the vehicles. The only vehicle I never got was Bebop and Rocksteady's flying car, which upsets me to this day. But I will say one thing, though. Getting all that stuff back is really expensive.
Yeah, it really is. Like, it's insane.
Even broken, it's like, oh, here's $100 for the Technodrome. I'm like,
Really?
but it's in half.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no.
You have to puzzle piece it together, a thing that was never meant to be a puzzle.
It's insane. A broken toy of Turtles, still super expensive.
Jeez. Wow.
And you've said before, you had the comics, right?
Yes,
You have the comics,
I
yeah.
still have the original comic where they all wore the red bandanas. The original comic that first came out.
They all
where
have one color.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they all
Oh,
have
yeah.
one color, and they actually killed the Shredder in that comic.
Yeah, they kill him in, like, the first issue, dude.
They get the main villain of every other iteration.
Yes.
Dead at the first time. It's like
It's kind of like
how-
Super Shredder in the movies, how it's, like, one of the coolest looking things in every other bit of media.
Yeah.
But in the movies, it was he pops in, he's Super Shredder, and then he just dies.
And then he dies. Yep.
Yeah, the Super Shredder did not come much later. As a matter of fact, if I remember correctly, Super Shredder didn't come in until actually the movie Secret of the Ooze.
Yeah,
Till the
it's,
second
his
movie,
first
yeah.
appearance, and all it was, oh my god, the Shredder just mutated, and he killed himself.
We lost budget. we're out of time.
And you go to every other iteration. Of
Cut to Vanilla Ice.
and Vanilla Ice, save the day and the budget.
He probably
said
took
it.
the most of the budget. That's why they ran out of money.
You have to. You must choose Vanilla Ice or Super Shredder. I'm gonna take the Super Shredder.
But I will say this: I still wonder to this day how his metal pieces on his body grew with him becoming Super Shredder. That's still boggling me. even when I was a kid.
Marketing.
It's the reason why one of my favorite iterations was still like the 2012, where became an absolute monstrosity, and it's like you look at that and it's like actually genuinely terrifying. It looks like less metal, more like the metal's fused with his bones.
Yeah. All right. So
It's insane.
the thing that helped me understand the '80s cartoon better is the recent game that came out that is like a arcade style. I can't remember what it's called, but it definitely had what was it?
Wasn't the Cowabunga collection? Was it? No.
No, the
No,
Cowabunga
no,
collection was,
It's like Super Turtles or something like that.
Shredder's Revenge.
Shredder's Revenge.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, that was the most recent thing that I had that actually helped me understand at least some parts of the '80s.
I've had a very weird thing when it comes to Turtles. I've only realized recently how much I am into Turtles. It feels weird to say that, but
How could you not know when you're into something?
Am I?
well, it's because like I didn't really think of it that much until recently when I was thinking about it. Like, oh, well, how much experience do I have of Turtles? And I was like, okay, well, when I was a kid, 2003 show, I watched all of it. And then didn't watch much until Turtles Forever. Watched that. That was one of my favorite movies at the time. And then 2012, I watched the full series. And then Rise, I watched the full series. And original 80s, I've watched most of that. And so I didn't realize until recently, oh god, I've watched basically everything Turtles.
I might be a fan. I might be.
It's not that it's like I was like, am I a fan? No, it was more, am I a super fan of have I watched everything? Oh my god, I have. Okay.
Well, it does
Splinter.
it does show that you have way too much time on your hands.
Grew up with it. It helps. So basically, it was different ages.
I grew up with them too, but you literally watched more series than I have.
I was gonna say, it helps that like in my lifetime, there's been
More
basically
chances to watch
more
it.
chances to watch it. Of like, mind you, 4Kids comes out. That's my bread and butter. Every weekend, coming over and sitting in the living room to watch 2003 Turtles, and that was one of the best shows on 4Kids because of how much more adult it felt. Like, you see...
It was the edgy one.
Well, yeah, because at the end of season 1, you see Shredder getting decapitated, and it's like, holy shit, this is awesome!
All kids should be allowed to see their first decapitation.
Well, and then you get so freaked out. You get so freaked out when suddenly Shredder walks away from the fire headless, and you're like, what is happening?
So no head?
But, so I grew up with that, and then 2012... get a resurgence of like, oh, Turtles, that's cool, I can watch this again. And it was the 2012 CGI one, and started off slow where I was like, okay, this is pretty fun, but then after a while, it got back into that kind of like darker tone of the comics, and it's just like, wow, this is actually a really good story. Just reminded you how good a story Turtles can make.
Yeah.
I like the way they brought back that Splinter was a mutation, not a rat being hit by the stuff. And
yeah, that's a bit weird.
Yeah, but this one where he was actually, Hamato Yoshi.
Yeah,
that's the part of the stories that I always like when Splinter is actually not just a rat, that he's actually a person who got turned into a rat and he had his own pet turtles or whatever.
Well, what it was is that the way the ooze works is that you combine with the last thing you touched. Well, Hamato Yoshi had a pet rat, and he, would pet the rats and stuff like that. They were his pets, and then he found the turtles and he touched them, but they were covered in the ooze, and that's when they switched. The turtles became a human. He became a rat.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
that makes much more sense to me than it's just a rat that became human. Because it's like, where did he even learn all of these like ancient Japanese fighting styles?
Now, in the original comic, the one where they killed the Shredder, where it's all red, he was the rat that became, that grew, because he was studied him, copied him from his cage. So that was the original.
It's the original way.
So funny to hear that, because once again, like I mentioned, 2003 was the one where it was like, oh, this seems so much more adult. That's so cool. At the same time, it is also the Turtles where Splinter is a rat that learned martial arts.
Fuck you.
So
how about that? Huh?
So
how about I just say
funny.
Fuck you?
I was gonna say it was so funny though, of just like, oh, this is so much more adult than the 80s cartoon.
God damn it!
I was the rat of Hamato Yoshi. What?
That's one big rat.
Yeah, no.
That's a big ass rat.
I was gonna say, you get a rat who learned martial arts from his master and then now is fighting ancient alien demon man.
New York. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. You get that, and it's like, oh, seems so goofy, and then you get
turns out it's
Stockman getting a piece of him torn off each time he fails a mission, and it's like, Jesus Christ.
Excuse me, what?
Baxter Stockman, by the end of the show,
gross.
Oh,
dude, there's a banned episode of 2003 because of the fact that it was after all this time of making the joke of Baxter Stockman being torn apart.
What does this have to do with the 80s?
Not a thing.
Turtles?
Turtles.
Turtles?
I said that's why I asked the 80s.
Yeah, but after all that time, you get an episode where he decides to try to remake his body using his tech.
Oh.
And he does it, but it slowly deteriorates over the episode. And it's like, what is going on?
Oh, God.
This was the point when the show was almost canceled, essentially.
Jesus Christ. All right.
Yeah.
Well, with that
Back
horrifying...
to 80s,
yeah, with
that was the one that I had honestly revisited.
On that very family moment, I think we might go
It's such a family-friendly 4 kids moment.
Yeah, we'll definitely do with the 80s ones, because you can actually see that one with your children and not traumatize them for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
Unless you see Krang. So anyway.
Krang.
Not even Crane. He just looks like chewed bubblegum.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm excited to go into 80s, because once again, this is the one I've revisited a lot, but I haven't sat down and watched through it entirely.
Well, we'll definitely be doing a lot more 80s. We got Thundercats, we got Robotech, we got Speed Racer, we got...
He-Man!
Now we're not doing...
All right.
What's wrong, Skeletor? You don't want to fight?
Oh, no. There's just so much loincloth a person could take.
Are you sure you can't fight me, He-Man?
Are you sure you can't fight me?
Lord Skeletor!
Are you sure you can't fight me naked, He-Man?
But
Please no.
I will say that Skeletor is a lot more evil instead of this remake that was made. That was just complete disaster.
And before we get on to all that, we'll be back after we have watched the first season of the 80s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We'll be back!
Hey, the ooze that made the Turtles was actually the same ooze that messed up Daredevil.
Shut up!
April sure was mad.
Oh well, you know women.
No, we don't.
What kind of what kind of other job can the Turtles have? That's the only thing that we're qualified for. Saving the world.
Had a seizure mid. I could see you had a seizure mid trying to figure that out.
You had a stroke there, so we had a seizure, a stroke. All right, what are you up to?
I'm just enjoying the show, watching you guys try to put this together.
And yeah, we're back. Hello, everybody. We just saw the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1987 show, and I gotta say, this has to be one of my favorite things I've ever watched.
Yep, well, knowing me, I grew up with it, so it's timeless to me. It's like, you know, even though you watch it now and you're like, oh my god, I actually watched this, and the corny jokes and everything else, but it still brings back me sitting there cross-legged in front of the TV, back in the olden days when you actually had to turn on the TV and walk over to it.
And you couldn't pause it.
Watch it.
And you couldn't pause it.
No, there was no pausing, there was no rewinding, there was no on-demand, hey, I missed that episode. You either watched it that day on Saturday, or you didn't watch it at all.
And if there was an episode that came out and you didn't watch it, it didn't exist.
That is the one thing that I'm sad that kids nowadays are going to miss. Saturday morning cartoons.
Urgency.
Saturday morning cartoons in general, where, in all fairness, I've noticed that of, like, when I see my little sister go to watch cartoons, I notice, like, it suddenly will say, like, a new episode of this show coming out this date, and it'll be, like, some random day, like a Thursday or something. I'm just like, do you not have, like a weekly thing of just, like, on this day we're doing this thing?
Yeah, like, it'll pick, like, Tuesday at 11 a.m.
Or the word.
Well, I mean, that's just the way things are nowadays, really. I mean, you know, kids, they always talk about structure, and then everything is so unstructured. They just binge watch it now.
Yeah.
It's like, back then you did have structure. It's like, you wanted to get your homework done before 3:30 every day to watch, like, the Batman series and Ninja Turtles, Gargoyles. You had to structure your life if you wanted to see those shows, because if you missed it, guess what? You got to hear about it from your dumb friend that always got it wrong. Every time.
Dude, the turtles are red now.
Michelangelo no longer has his nunchucks because reasons.
Because
the law.
Because everybody thought that kids making nunchucks was a danger to the country itself. But yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This one especially, we grew up, Duke, you and I, we grew up with a different version of the Turtles. But this one, I gotta say, has instantly topped any other iteration that I've seen.
Humor-wise, yes.
Humor-wise, they are my favorite. The jokes, the sarcasm, the insults, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they didn't really have to worry back then about really offending people.
No.
I mean, it was supposed to be offensive. Like, Raphael's always the sarcastic smartass.
He's cool but rude.
Hearing that,
you know, he's rude, he's crude, and socially unacceptable. Mikey's the dumb party, the epitome of the surfer of the Ninja Turtles.
The one who smokes but doesn't smoke.
Yeah. You know, he's a smoker, non-smoker. He's just like, he doesn't need to smoke it because he's already there.
Remember, say no to drugs, but yes to pizza.
Exactly. I think they
yes
actually
to
had
no.
an advertisement like that. Say no to drugs, say yes to pizza.
Say no to yes, pizza to drugs.
Yeah. Stuff like that. Of course, you know, Duke can't put a line together. I'm like, that made no sense.
No, that's it. There's a poster out there where it's the whole, like, say no to drugs, say yes to pizza. But the way it's lined up, it looks like say no to yes, say drugs to pizza.
When you read it left to right, it says it the wrong way. But when you read
so
it,
they couldn't even put the poster up right. But see, now that's growing up in the '80s. You couldn't even put a poster up right.
It was
we're the one that started the crooker poster phrase, because it wasn't because, you know, we were trying to be cool. It was because we just couldn't line it up.
You only had one thumbtack to put it up.
One thumbtack, so, you know, everybody comes in and just flips over, hooks onto another one. You're like, okay, that looks good.
All right.
It's kind of like that one sale sign I've seen before, where it's sale, like SA and then LE as a square. And so it looks like Sasalele. People don't know how to put up posters, and it's very evident.
No, well, not everybody's an interior designer, especially when you're dealing with teenagers and kids. You just want something cool. It's like, there's actually a formal picture of me in this house with my Michelangelo shirt and Turtles bandana.
Hell yeah.
I wanted to come wearing that before our formal picture. Everybody else is dressed to the nines. My sister and all that, they're all dressed up. They were upset they were dressed up, but I wouldn't take it unless I was wearing that. So that's what I'm wearing. So you get to see me for eternity, but that was the time when I had hair, so maybe people won't recognize me.
They'll never know.
Who's this kid? That's me. Liar!
I know that your family secretly adopted Michelangelo.
When did Mikey get here?
He lives in the basement. That's the septic tank.
This is terrible here, dude.
This show, it was very episodic. It wasn't like there wasn't an overarching story that like coalesced into a grand finale. But I gotta say, this still is one of my top 5 favorite shows I've ever seen.
They tried that on occasion. You could see they tried that on occasion to have like an overarching story, but it wouldn't be
last like 2 episodes.
Yeah, like it was 2 episodes, not the entire series. Which we have it out in a DVD case, and it's literally like the size of like 4 regular DVD cases, and it has 10 seasons.
Yeah, it was one of the longest running cartoons that I've ever been across. It people loved it. I mean, everybody wants nowadays, you hear people talk about, the 2003 version, 2012 version. Nothing beats, in my opinion, the epitome of Ninja Turtles. I even read the first comic book, which was a lot darker than this TV show. They had to definitely water it down for modern kids because they didn't want to see them killing and stabbing and all that, throwing grenades. But
they were so marketable in this show. I like every time we see like one of their new vehicles that they got and all that kind of stuff. It's just like, and there's the next toy that they wanted to make. There's the next toy. There's the next toy.
That's kind of what we did.
I had every single last one of them. I had 2 steamer trunks full of all the Ninja Turtles toys. I even had the ones where they were dressed as football players, basketball players, basketball. One dressed as pizza delivery. I mean, I had them all. I had the pizza thrower. I had the blimp. I had the Foot Clan's car, the flying car, the foot car.
The Technodrome.
I had the Technodrome, which vexes me greatly that that's gone now. It's just like, God, I played with the hell of that thing. I played with it so much that the eye wouldn't even stay at the top anymore. It just fall right off.
Oh, God.
80s was kind of the point when that's kind of how cartoons shifted. It went from, let's just have the usual cartoon, to the creators will still enjoy making it, but you can see where the main moneymaker is of, okay, hear us out, guys. In this episode, let's change their design just this much so we can sell a toy.
So a new toy. You bastard!
Transformers.
Transformers.
I can't wait to get to that in the future.
That one is, I think, the king of making toys out of a show.
Yeah, it was the most complex. That was the best part.
If you're going to go with it, actually, the ones that were the king of that was actually when you go with He-Man and Masters of the Universe, because it actually wasn't even a story.
Really?
It wasn't.
They wanted to sell the toys, and they created a story around the toys. And it's like, so that's when it gets like that.
Well, Mayhem, you've seen the entire story. Remember that video of just Skeletor just laughing? And that's the entire video? Yeah, Mayhem, that's the story.
That's the entire story of Masters of the Universe?
Yeah, that's honestly the entire story.
That's amazing.
Oh, yeah, there was totally a marketing tool to get kids to play it. Now, I was never a He-Man fan. No, not taking it away. People can like He-Man if they want. But it was never my forte. A muscle-bound guy running around in a loincloth.
Yeah, I was about to say,
I have the power! It's like, okay, I'm done with you.
You didn't prefer the muscular men running around. You preferred the green turtles.
Oh, the green turtles were cool because they were ninjas.
Yes.
Now, like I said, I read the first comic book before where, they actually kill the Shredder.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
He technically kills himself. They defeat him and he blows himself up with a grenade. But no, he does it on purpose. He was going to take it all with him.
Yeah.
The suicide thing. But, it was a lot more brutal. And, of course, then you had, I still have that comic book. Of course, it's don't touch it or breathe on it, it might dissolve. Yeah. But I still have that.
I'm so sorry. I thought, I forgot. We have at least some people in the UK that might have seen the show while we're here. And I'm sorry, you don't even know what we're talking about. We're talking about the Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles.
Yeah.
Yes, they were Hero Turtles, not ninjas.
Yeah, because
Hero... You don't want to put a ninja because they believe... well, it's true. Ninjas are assassins.
Yeah.
That's what they started. Ninjas were assassins. So.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Leonardo and Raphael running around with ninja-style weapons.
Yeah. Well, in all fairness, that's the entire point of, like, I'll say it was a detail I thought was kind of cool when it came to, like, the 2018 version of they had lost their weapons in that show, and when they go to get new weapons, their friend goes like, okay, and here you go, and he unravels all the weapons, and it's a bunch of garden tools. And the reason it's a bunch of garden tools is because for actual ninjas back in the day, that's what they did.
Oh, yeah, because
the traditional ninja, and
that was how they got a pass of having these dangerous weapons, was using them also as gardening tools.
Best
Well,
best
that's where
part.
they started off with all of that because actually in Japan, if you were in Japan at the time when they had ninjas and all that stuff, it was illegal for them to have weapons.
Yeah.
They couldn't have swords. They couldn't have anything. That was for the elite, the samurai class, and all that stuff. So they turned all their farming equipment, which is like their scythe and all their stuff, the shuriken and all that stuff. That was
trowel.
It was from a trowel. All that stuff they had to make into weapons.
Yeah, that's... I didn't even think about that. That was...
It ended up being one of my favorite scenes, especially because you see each of them is a reference to their original weapon.
Yeah.
Like Raph being given 2 red, it was that small rake gardening tool where it had the 3 prongs.
Yeah.
And so later on, when they transform the weapons, it turns into his size.
It goes into the... Oh,
and
that's
it's like, oh, that's sick.
Well, it's the same thing with why the ninja toe. Well, 2 reasons why the ninja toe is different from the samurai katana. Even though they had Leo with katanas, he's actually supposed to have the straight ninja toe because they could hide it in their sticks or walking sticks and it looked straight. It also was easier to hide behind the arm so they couldn't see it.
Yeah.
That's why it was shorter and everything else.
Although in the show, Leonardo, it does not look like he has katanas, like, at all. It looks like he has just, like, scimitars most of the time.
Yeah, he's either got scimitars. Sometimes they look like sabers.
Saber, or just, like, a really big butter knife.
Sometimes they even look like those machetes that the Shaolin monks carry, those with the fat blade and the fat hilt. It's like, I don't know the exact name of those. I used to.
I remember.
It shows I'm getting old.
I remember somewhere there was an explanation for why each turtle had the weapon that they had. I thought it was really cool. Where
yes,
it was,
I know. Yeah, go.
Like, for example, the big one was nunchucks for Mikey. The explanation that somebody gave was Splinter gave him the nunchucks because that is the tool that requires the most control. Give it to the most out of control kid.
Yeah, to teach him some, teach him balance and control and all that stuff, and it's just like,
And
Leo had the coolest explanation though.
That
of, like,
the only weapon that could actually kill out of all of them to the one who refuses to kill.
Yeah.
And then Raphael, a blunt type of weapon for someone who is more willing to kill.
Yeah.
Well, I gave him that one because sais are strictly a defensive weapon. You can't knock somebody out with them, but they're mainly for defense and blocking swords. So if somebody's so aggressive, you want to give the exact opposite.
Exactly. And then Donatello, the stick! The stick!
The reason why it's just a stick is it's because, well, you're the most creative one. I'm giving you the least creative weapon.
It's not just a
That's
stick.
That's literally the reason.
It's a log.
Yeah.
the simplest tool because he's the one that's the inventor. So everything's like their weapon is their polar opposite.
I like how in the show Donnie is like their personalities are just like they're slowly starting to happen, but they're definitely like you can see when they're writing the characters, they're starting to get the idea of what directions they want them to go. But when they first start out, they're just like they all like pizza, they're all ninjas, and they're just willing to go out there and like make jokes and fight Shredder and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I also like the fact that they still kept them as teenagers.
Oh, yeah.
They had the teenager mentality of like, like that one line from Raphael when he sees those facial nostril and glasses thing. He goes, why do humans want to make themselves more funny looking than they already are?
Yeah.
Typical teenage thing. Now, like, you can't make statements like that because, of course, somebody will get offended somewhere along the line. I mean, somebody that really has no life. I mean, let's be honest. If you really get offended by an 80s cartoon, you really need to go out and
Look at yourself in the mirror wearing the funny glasses and the nose.
Yeah, exactly.
This show had an offensive thing here. it was built for toys.
I mean,
That's about it.
I mean, I even had that toy with the turtles actually had those glasses.
They did.
And the fedora. And I had that toy. I'm like, you couldn't put any of their weapons on them really because they had their hands in their pockets, so they weren't boneless, but they were ones you just they were supposed to play with them, but I still could never figure out how.
That's another thing too. Every time that they disguise themselves to go up to the surface, everybody finds them instantly and knows that they're the turtles instantly.
Hey, it's looking at you, kid.
Well, that's one thing I did like about the first movie of the Ninja Turtles. I mean, don't get me wrong, the ones with Megan Fox and the CGI were very well done in my book. Those two were very well done.
Bebop and Rocksteady in the second one.
The second one was definitely more nostalgia feeling for me.
Yeah.
Except they got, Casey Jones' mask wrong, but whatever. Nothing's perfect, but they did an excellent job with that. But the first movie definitely did more of the references to the show, which I like. Like when Raphael goes out, he's wearing the fedora. And
yes.
the coat. Casey Jones had the correct mask where, it looked like the old style hockey mask.
That's another thing too. Casey Jones in this show, he was so much more of like a neutral character that like he would fight the turtles, but then when Shredder shows up, they team up and fight Shredder. It was very interesting just seeing how these characters, they started out and then wait, that's not how I remember them from this other show or movie or something like that. Here's someone that popped up that was almost completely different than when they were first introduced.
Yeah, exactly. The first time Casey Jones comes in, he's a wild vigilante. He's just anything that's a crime, even littering or loitering. He's going after you with a hockey stick.
He sounds
love the voice.
He sounds like Keanu Reeves doing a Bane impression. Here's the thing that I'm worried about: you monstrous turtles, absolutely messing up this city. Don't you know? Loitering is a crime.
The perfect character if they ever want to put in like a live action. Keanu Reeves as Casey Jones. He'll be perfect. He's a martial artist anyway, so he'll be able to do the moves. And still, you pull off that kind of slightly crazy, but kind of surfer dude type issue.
Like chill, but like as soon as you get him revved up, he's going to attack you.
Well, he also sounded like too old for it. No, don't care. Do it.
There was also a lot of lines from Casey Jones that just gave me the feel that he would be a conspiracy theorist. I've got this idea. There's Martians in this world. We're actually turtles. I'm not talking about you guys.
Don't worry. I took care of 3 government spy drones this morning. Casey, did you kill 3 pigeons? Maybe.
I didn't. You can't kill what's already dead.
I already know we're being invaded by space. I went to the DMV.
We gotta head to Japan. Okay, got it. Well, we gotta go. We gotta go this way. It would be quicker if we go that way. No, if we go that way, we'll go off the edge of the Earth.
We'll fall off the flat Earth.
We have to go that way. We could hit the ice wall and get shot by the government.
We'll find evidence of those dinosaurs one day.
Well, there are dinosaurs in this. You have the Triceratons.
Imagine him seeing the Triceratons and having an absolute aneurysm.
So yeah, there's 10 seasons of this show, but we saw we saw a very small amount.
You got a good like 40.
Like a good I would say like around 2 seasons worth, like maybe just over 2 seasons worth.
We saw 2 seasons.
We saw full 2 seasons, and then we kind of did a little picky choosy with the last ones because you would never have gotten this video or this recording if we'd still be watching it, and I'd be even have more gray hair on my face, and the other 2 would start aging rapidly. Kind of like playing Zelda and finally conquering it.
I did it.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say it was the thing of I basically looked at this of like, okay, we watched the first 2 seasons. That's good.
Get the gist of it.
Hey, Highlander, what toys did you collect? These ones. Go!
Well, I collected all of them. It didn't matter. As long as it was Turtles, I collected...
Which toys did you like?
I had Shredder. Actually, I had to get my Foot Soldier twice because of my sister chucking it across the room and breaking its leg off.
The one episode I regret that we weren't able to find or watch was the meme.
Shredder!
Where?
Yeah. Where it Mikey
says that
in
meme
the body of Shredder, yeah.
Yeah. I think they swap bodies. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
But it's still just so... There's so many funny jokes in this. Another character I was not expecting to enjoy as much that I did. Like, she's one of my favorite characters of the entire show. April.
Oh, yeah.
Who is... she says it herself. She's 28. And I'm happy.
Yes, I mean, I think we have... I think every young man through the 80s that watched Ninja Turtles had a crush on April O'Neil. I mean, everybody... I mean, I even have a friend that literally named his baby sister. Because they gave it to him to name this new baby sister, and he named her April O'Neil. and so, I actually know her, you know, but yeah, it's funny to tell. She's named after April O'Neil in the Ninja Turtles.
That's amazing.
Yes.
There, it is funny how it's like, it's happening more and more nowadays because it's more accepted that you name your kid after something you watched or like a piece
Unless
of
you're an
media.
anime fan.
Unless you're an anime fan, in which if you do
They're
it...
Japanese. Please don't.
Yeah, they're Japanese names. You can try and
If
translate it over and find like an equivalent of it, but you
Unless you
can't.
want your kid to live in a locker. I'm going to see it right now. Hey, Goku! Hey, Kakarot!
No,
it's like, oh my god!
I'm gonna be-
It's like,
No, it's absolutely...
I'm gonna be 100%. If I take my nephew to school in the future, and I see a kid named Deku Smith,
Aaron.
I'm putting him in a locker. I'm shoving that kid in the locker.
well, when they have regular names, I mean, like, when you got the Ninja Turtles, they're named after the great artists.
Yes,
You know,
Yeah.
that's
Da Vinci,
fine.
Leo,
Raphael,
yeah.
Donatello, Michelangelo. I mean,
I've
you
seen
know.
kids named Leo.
So, like, when it's done like that, then it makes sense. But when the kid is named Ichigo, you know he's going to be called Bitchigo the entire time he's in school.
Yeah, or he's going to learn how to fight real good. Because, like, you know, they'll be like, why is he beating up everybody? Because, look at
His name is
He's
Ichigo.
got no choice.
Like, literally, I have this favorite show. Here's a character from it that has the most normal name. My son's name is Tony. Take a guess. Take a guess, Duke. What show am I talking about?
Tony?
Yeah.
Tony Soprano.
One Piece?
Yes.
Oh, Tony.
Now, we're talking as One Piece. That shows age gap. Because when you say Tony to me, I think, hey, Tony Soprano.
Yeah.
You think of The Sopranos.
Yeah, I think it's
No, but I get what he means of, like, if you're gonna pick from a show that you like, especially if it's like an anime, for example, pick a normal name.
Well, it's like you can't do it with all the ones. Like, you're not going to name your kid Optimus Prime.
Why not?
I mean, you know, no.
Megatron. Shorten it to Meg.
Yeah.
No,
Megatron, Starscream,
No, if you-
Soundwave. I mean, I don't think those are...
Bulkhead.
if you want to go
Okay.
Prime, if you want to go for referencing Prime, what was his original name? Orion?
Orion.
His original name was Orion.
Orion.
That does sound cool.
Well, his original name was Orion because of a lot of people... I don't know why we're talking about Transformers on these...
Just talk
Ninja
about
Turtles.
names.
But with Transformers, he wasn't always the big Optimus Prime. He was actually very small. And Megatron, when he started to take over, you actually see the past. And Megatron actually shoots him because he's irritated by it.
Fair enough.
And,
Bitch!
And, you know, Optimus Prime originally looked up to Megatron. He's like, whoa, one of the warrior bots.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't. Well, to save his life, they won, you know, their doctors or whatever and what you call it.
They're
The engineers, essentially.
They're political.
On Cybertron made him that way, and they used the special energy of the core, or, you know, what's that stuff called again?
The Matrix. Energon.
Energon. And by using that special energon, he became Optimus Prime.
Ah.
So it's not like in the movies where he's descendant of primes. He was actually the first Optimus Prime.
Ah.
And then he becomes the next. The next prime was actually Rodimus in the movie, which was voiced by Judd Nelson. But he becomes Rodimus Prime. He was actually Hot Rod, and then when he changed, he became Rodimus Prime.
Good thing he didn't become Hottidus Prime.
Well, actually, he was in the movie. A lot of people didn't realize Judd Nelson did a voice in the, even though it's the worst one, the one with Anthony Hopkins.
Oh, the
Yes.
He
last.
was actually the one doing the French accent. Was actually
That was him.
That was Judd
The
Nelson.
the C-3PO butler person.
No, not the C-3PO butler. The one that was the car.
Oh, the
That
one.
had the French
the
accent
French,
that
yeah.
people could barely understand. That was actually Judd Nelson. I was surprised. I was like, they're like, Judd Nelson's in this. And I looked for him. Like, didn't
Where?
even recognize voice. I had to look
Where?
Yeah, where? All right, so back to the Turtles.
It's Judd Nelson. Where?
But yeah, all of it, and that's another thing too, is all of the voices and everything in this was absolutely spectacular. Shredder had my favorite voice, and the fact that he was this intense, like, imposing force, and yet he had some of the stupidest lines where it's just, I don't want to conquer Dimension X, I want to conquer Earth!
He does it in the perfect whiny voice of a big guy like that. It's something like you would hear like what Jason Momoa would do. You know? I don't want to do that. I want to go over here.
I want to take you, and I want to take your head and shove it in the toilet.
The
He
voice
kind of reminded me a little bit of like the WWE wrestlers from the 80s, like Hulk Hogan.
Yes.
Like, I'm going to break your face.
You
step into a Slim Jim.
Yeah! Oh, yeah!
I'm going to die on turtle soup. I mean, they definitely in the movies made him more
Threat.
sinister.
Yeah, that was the aspect that they
That's what I love about the evolution of this show.
did. Yeah, that they left out. They made Shredder not as sinister. So most of the time, when he's there, you're just laughing, and then you're just like, all right, what are you gonna try and do this time? I'm going to make rats hunters, robots. And it's like he sounds like he's making up the ideas in his head as he's saying them. Mousers! Mousers!
Mausers, you know, it's like, and you know,
Here's your reward!
And what I like is that the characters that change in the show is like when they get turned into mutants, like Baxter Starkman. He still acted like a fly before he became a flyman.
Yeah,
Because, like, when he laughed, when he laughed, and he do that sound, it's like, oh, he's going to turn into a fly. You know, they kept it simpler for kids back in those days, you know, for them to feel smart that they figured out, oh, he's going to turn into this. I mean, it wasn't like Agatha Christie Mysteries or something like that.
Yeah,
Scooby-Doo.
It wasn't like Vanilla Sky where you're like, what just happened? How many times do I have to watch this to figure it out?
Yeah, you had Mutagen Man, where even before he got melted, he had no spine.
Yeah, and he definitely doesn't have one when he mutates.
Anymore. Can I
he
get
doesn't have
cured
spine,
at all?
you know,
No.
And Bebop and Rocksteady, they're very brutish and just like they have like
big
their
and stupid.
big, stupid,
That's-
and all that kind of stuff.
You know?
Else.
And it's like, but when you say, hey, you know, like when you tell somebody, especially when like people are drawing characters for people on YouTube, when you say to them, hey, I want Bebop glasses to put on there, they always get it wrong. They still won't do the ones with the multi-veins in them. It's like, I've only seen Bebop's sunglasses done right in the cartoons and in the second Turtles movie with Megan Fox. That's where he had the right
Yep, where it was
just the one line through it, and those were actually popular in the 80s. Though, of course, nobody could see through them for shit.
No. Of course you can't.
Go,
Well, it was
your head
the...
up and down like, you know, kind of like a cell phone commercial.
You're always listening to music with it.
In all fairness, it was the 80s, 90s. You don't go for actual, like, it works. You don't
go for convenience.
Because it looks cool.
Yeah, you don't go for convenience or comfort. You go for the style.
It's similar to, like, cosplayers nowadays, where it's like, oh, man, you look just like the character. I know, right? 30 minutes later, that person is dying.
Yeah, they're dying of heat stroke, and like they're holding up like 20 pounds on one arm for like how thick the fabric is and all that kind of stuff.
Like there's
that's why I always say
I'm guessing you're talking about the guys, because everyone I've seen the cosplay or the females, they're probably freezing to death.
You would be surprised. There are some women where they go for the like big old like dresses of like some characters.
You're talking about like the Disney princesses or the big floofy dresses.
Yeah, like there's
some
just
characters,
thick stuff.
Yeah, very thick
like
dresses.
The professional cosplayers, like that one Asian lady that dressed up as like the evil queen from that Alice in Madness game.
Yep.
Yeah, that was, you know, you're like, she could barely walk because every time she walks, something would fall off of it.
Just all these guys where they're by the time they're walking away from a convention, they have basically stripped everything off and they're just melting, heading back to their hotel room.
That's the thing. If I ever, the one cosplay I've always wanted to do is Gurren Lagann Kamina. But
you know, the one where you can stay the coolest.
Yeah,
where all it is you don't even wear a shirt.
But I know that the quilt from the quilt of his cape.
Yeah,
like how thick that's gonna be.
Okay, as if we've officially dropped into Nerdland.
Yeah.
Like cosplaying.
Welcome to the channel.
Yeah, I see that because I'm like,
we're talking about original Turtles
stuff, but I ain't dressing up like nothing. I might wear the top. I'll do is wear a shirt. That's it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm not dressing up as Spawn, Complicator. I'm not dressing up Ninja Turtles. No. I did that when I was younger because I was a child.
You can put on the shell. It'll still
I'm
work.
not putting on the shell. I've already bald already. I look like a turtle well enough.
You just put on the shell.
I was gonna say, in all
very
fairness,
easy.
in all fairness, nowadays it is pretty easy if you can just say you're dressed as this character and they'll believe you because of how many characters out there wear normal fucking clothes.
See, that's where I'm just like, okay, all right.
Yeah, that's what I'll be. John Constantine. A fucking jacket, tie, and shirt.
There you go. There you go. And done.
Yeah, you're done. Legitimately, you're done.
I have to dress up for work because I work at a prison, so I have to wear the exact same uniform every day. I don't want to dress up at home. Well, or when I go out. I'm like, I want to be comfortable.
Yeah, that's the...
I'm like, dressing up in a sea of polyester every day is just like, no.
So we can segue this perfectly into, why the fuck does April wear that yellow jumpsuit all the fucking time?
Why?
Yeah, well, you gotta say her laundry costs have gone down because she has one outfit.
One outfit, yeah.
That is actually when it comes to a lot of older shows where they have the like they wear one thing at all times joke, it actually became my favorite joke I've seen in so many shows. Where like it's either one of two things. Either you have it in some shows where it's they go to their wardrobe and it's the same shirt 30 times.
They open the closet door
like,
and
it's legitimately they are wearing the same clothes. Or you have the best one to have done it was one of the Scooby-Doo movies where they go like, oh, we gotta get dressed up. Well, why bother? We wear the same thing every day anyway.
Why bother?
And both Daphne and Velma go, just look down at themselves.
I mean, Shredder never changes his outfit.
Yeah, in all fairness.
Never change theirs. I mean, what are they going to do with the turtles? Oh, they change their shell?
Yeah.
I mean, they wear the same bandanas and, like, I mean, yeah, like I said.
Sometimes they wear party outfits.
Now, I will with April, I wouldn't mind seeing, but the other day, laundry day for everybody, it's like, oh, everybody's naked.
Yeah.
I'm like, April, you wouldn't mind, but the rest of them do.
Or it's like they just throw their clothes into the washer dryer when they go to sleep, and then just wake up, and there it is.
I now imagine you say that, and now I just imagine like Mikey, and he's like got his mask off, and it's like, don't look, I'm naked.
I'm naked.
It's one of those jokes where like he takes off his mask, and suddenly he's covering up his junk. And it's like.
But the only
what?
If you actually look at it, the only ones that change their clothes, honestly, is the turtles when they come out in disguise.
Yeah, when they're the disguises, yeah.
That's it. And that's like one episode where like they come out as doctors or they come out as the punk rockers dancing with a boombox next to their head trying to blend in. It's like, dude, you're green.
You guys have a new form of yellow fever.
Yeah.
Green fever. Yeah.
Exactly. So, but who's our favorite? What's your favorite episode there, dude?
Oh God, I'm trying. Let me look back at. I got the list
God,
of
to
the
look
show.
At it? Like, your favorite episode? Which I watched so many, I don't know.
I'll be 100%. It was Leatherhead.
It was Leatherhead.
We get the return of the punk frogs.
Yeah. Napoleon Bonafrog.
Yeah, Napoleon Bonafrog. Don't forget Genghis Frog.
Genghis Frog.
What was it?
Attila the
Rasputin Frog.
Rasputin.
Yeah, just straight up just Rasputin.
It's just Rasputin. And then what was the last one?
Attila the Frog.
Attila the Frog.
Yeah, named after all dictators and conquerors.
I will name them after my favorite people in the world.
Napoleon,
Attila the.
Wow, Shredder, you Japanese man take a lot of inspiration from nowhere in Japan.
No, of course not. No, he takes inspiration from a lot of different warlords.
Well, if Shredder was even a little bit worse and had an extra frog, we would have had...
Oh, no. I see where the joke's going. No. Napoleon Bonafrog, Adolf Frogler, Siegfrog!
Yeah, that would have gone
a little too much.
No, not at all. I mean, even back in those days, they had a lot more.
We kind of ostracized that one.
We had to send that cousin out to Argentina to see his family.
Yeah. Argentina.
what was it?
But what I love about the show also is that the cliches of everybody where they're at. You had the typical New Yorker they put out there, the frogs in the bayou, Leatherhead, acting like a bayou. You even had crawdaddy cuffs. And they acted like people down there in the bayou. And
I guarantee.
And I love that about the show. Just such the cliches. The only one that didn't act like he came from that place was the Shredder. He was the only one that didn't act very Japanese. Very Japanese. Shredder acted just
as a shit.
Shredder.
Yeah, Shredder was just the shit
Shredder was
villain.
every 80s villain, in all fairness. He was, what was his name? From G.I. Joe, Commander Cobra or something?
Commander Cobra.
It's just Commander Cobra, okay.
Yeah,
he was Commander Cobra, he was Skeletor, he just
Megatron.
name a villain. Yeah, he's one of them.
And
that's not a bad thing, though.
Which I can't remember.
Mumra. The ever-living, yeah.
I mean, they always had the creepy voices and everything else. I always thought, they kind of broke the mold with Megatron because he had that wispy voice until he became Galvatron, which was named by the late great,
Leonard Nimoy.
Oh, so good.
But he did an excellent job. It's just like when he became Galvatron and all that stuff. But what's great about those cartoons is just like, I don't know what's so great about them. You look at them and go, oh my God, and you kind of want to apologize to your parents, call them, go, yeah, I'm sorry I made you watch this.
I'll say that.
After going now, this mindless stuff, I get it now.
You say that. I will say, in my opinion, villains were at their best at that time. I will say.
Yeah, when villains were just terrible people.
Yeah, they were just evil.
They were just evil.
It's like they need a sob story. They just want to rule the world or the universe or the ultimate power.
I want to conquer Earth!
It's like, no, my favorite joke I've seen in one of the shows was when it came to Commander Cobra, of just like G.I. Joe, like, oh man, somebody's attacking us. Let's go check out who it is. Oh man, I don't think we'll be able to figure out who it is. Cobra!
You just hear it in the distance.
Never mind, we figured out who it is.
Yeah, it's him. But
it's like, those are my favorite villains I've seen in the past. Like, once again, Commander Cobra and Mum-Ra are genuinely two of my favorite villains because of how ridiculous they are.
Yeah. And then now we have in the Turtles, we've been talking about Shredder this entire time, but there's a whole other villain in Krang. Krang. He absolutely just...
Shredder, fool!
We literally just see, when we first see him, he's literally just sitting on, a stool, just as the brain, and it's just like, I want to screw over Shredder.
Well, I love
Hurry
how
over,
he
you
had the
fool!
weirdest voice ever, and he looked like 50 pounds of chewed bubblegum.
Yeah.
I mean, but he was still a cool character because he was smart, but still also stupid. Because it's like, okay, you can't rely on the Shredder. He messes everything up. You can't rely on the two idiots. How did you rule Planet X again?
Dimension X. Dimension X. He ruled over Dimension X as a tyrant, and then was just banished, exiled to Earth.
I remember he actually does show up, 87 Krang does show up in 2012, funny enough. He shows up, and it's everybody, all the other Krang just look at him like, ugh.
Well, isn't he a huge Krang? He's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was one of the big ones.
Well, he's also really huge in the 87. He's the size of your he's twice the size of a basketball, I would say.
Yeah, but no.
He's the size of a Greyhound. The boss.
In the 2012 version, I remember he's about the size of a building or a building room. And he's huge. So you can see him being, a dictator. But I loved him in the, like I said, with the hate to go the reference to the second movie again with Megan Fox. They did him great. The way he's trashed on Shredder. Oh, did I get tentacle slime on your armor? Too bad. And his voice, and I love what he says. Once it's all together, playtime. It's just the way the timing on that one was very good.
So playful, yeah.
It's playful and then diabolical at the same time, and that's the way they combine them. And well, I like when they keep villains as villains, because sometimes you just gotta keep it simple. Not everybody has to have a tragic story like Darth Vader. Don't get me wrong, Darth Vader's king. Personally, I preferred him after he put on the helmet. Anakin, stop crying. Stop it.
I don't like sand.
Yeah,
Nobody likes sand.
It's basically
it's rough and it gets everywhere.
It gets to be a problem nowadays of the number of villains out there where their entire thing is like, oh man, look at my tragic backstory that explains why it is okay that I killed 3 children just yesterday.
Wait, this doesn't. Wait, hold on.
Well,
no, that doesn't.
Like, and some of them, they're so desperate to give a backstory. It's like some of them, it's like, oh, the reason I want to take over the world is because a seagull stole my donut when I was 3 years old, and nobody got me another one. It's like
backstory.
There you go.
Don't get me wrong. There are some people out there that are evil in the real world that have had real hard choices in life. But I also look at it too. Life has a tendency to punch you right in the privies.
Suck it up.
I'm like, I've never done nothing to nobody, and hell, look at the stuff that's happened to me.
I was gonna say that is 100%. Like, you just made a joke about it, but that is the reason why a show that I love the way they do the like villain backstory bullshit is Phineas and Ferb, because it is literally the joke. Every episode has the B plot of, you see the whole thing of Dr. Doofenshmirtz, where he shows up and it's like, the reason why I'm doing this, when I was 10 years old, my father, and it's the most ridiculous bullshit story I've ever heard.
It gets more and more ridiculous with each thing.
Yeah, my favorite still, when I was born, my parents weren't even there.
Neither of my parents showed up for my birth.
And you're like, wait, what?
And then it shows
I was raised by ocelots.
I went sailing off as an immigrant to the land of opportunity, and then instead I ended up in America.
The other one that gets me is genuinely the best one, still, the gnome.
The gnome,
is the most famous backstory of when I was a child.
We were too poor.
We were too poor to afford a gnome, so my father made me the gnome. And you see him standing there, and he tries to move, and look at this.
Well, that's I think what I like about the purity of the '80s and '90s, early '90s cartoons, because honestly, it was just like evil, like Shredder. Why was he evil? Because he wanted to take over the world, and he wanted to take over the Foot Clan. That's why he betrayed Splinter. Because Splinter
That's
was
why he
better than
stabbed
him.
a note on his back. Kick me. Or he stabbed his coat.
He stabbed his coat to the wall so he wouldn't bow. And they actually, what I thought was
kick
cool
the bum out.
I thought it was an amazing thing is that I took Aikido when I was about that age.
They
designed the leader of the Foot Clan. They'll kick a bum out. Actually, that design came from the guy who was part of Aikido. He's the one that kind of designed it.
Steven Seagal?
Not Steven Seagal. Shut up. No, but I actually met him one time at the dojo, and he very quiet guy, but he could throw people around 3 times his size. He was an itty bitty little guy.
Yeah.
But it was awesome the way he moved, and he's passed on now, which is great. Sad, but he was very old when I met him, but that was the design for him, and it's like, oh my God!
Wait a second!
You saw him. You forgot to bow, and he told his men, "Kick the bum out."
I was not stupid enough to be don't kick the bum out. I was bowing.
You didn't have to. You weren't banished to New York to live in the sewers
to buy turtles.
I was quite overweight, but trust me, my head was hitting the floor. I can tell you right now, and that's difficult when you're fat.
It has the same sound as when you hit like the dodgeball. The
pink. Pretty much.
I fucking love 80s villains. They're just
so
fun.
That's why my favorite episode.
I love about those 80s cartoons because they did teach kids, and like some people are just evil.
Yeah, and that
if you have to fight it. It's like, but now it's like, let's give an excuse center of why they're evil or why the good guys are not. It's like we didn't have too many when we were young, what you call anti-heroes. We had Wolverine,
who was just an asshole.
Who was just like, Wolverine was like the guy that you always give a side glance to, like, okay, don't make him angry because he will shove his blades through you.
He would stab you.
He's also a confirmed Christian.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, there's an entire episode about it.
Hell yeah.
Really? We have to bring it up?
Absolutely, we have to bring it up.
I had to bring it up because of Mayhem. It's the thing that makes him smile. Confirmed Christian?
Yes! Best character. But that's why my favorite episode is the one that they Bebop and Rocksteady get turned into the mutants. Because that's another thing that I do like when a villain is just evil, but then also a villain's motivation is literally because when the thing happened to me to turn me into the thing that I'm going to be for the rest of the show,
I just want to be
the turtles screwed me over. I'm gonna do everything possible to take out the turtles now.
Somehow it has to do with the turtles.
I would say my favorite episode I would have to say is the Mausers one, because that was I have to say that was the second comic book I ever read of them before the show came on. And,
Nice.
But the Mausers, of course, like I said, the comic books were a bit more adult than the cartoon. But it was my first instance where Shredder actually had a good idea, because why go there yourself? You got these machines that can go through anything.
Anything, yeah.
And really, you think about it. I mean, the shows, the cartoon is funny. They bite them and go, ow, ow, ow. But have metal pierce through you through gears. It's like that's actually what done the job.
Yeah, and especially like the
idea. The rest of his ideas, you're like, I'm gonna make a flotation ray. I'm gonna chemicalize and mutagen the entire of New York, even though I'm standing right here.
I will throw chemicals into the water to make the frogs gay.
Hey, Napoleon.
But end it there.
We don't know what Shredder's up to, but we know it has something to do with the Twin Towers.
Jesus Christ. Seeing that
You have
episode.
to bring that up. In the episode we're putting in September.
Yeah.
When does this episode come out?
When does it come out, Duke?
Yeah,
when does it come out, Duke?
History of Trunks comes out on the 11th.
Yeah, for some reason the way that he does the schedule, it's just sometimes we just
It's not up to me when someone.
It's not up to me to follow the schedule and maybe.
Wait, it's not up to you. Don't you upload the video?
Good soldiers follow orders.
Good soldiers follow orders. Well, no, I'm saying like I have.
I supervise. You know that?
No, what I
was
mean.
Following orders. Why did you walk off that cliff? Well, they told me just to walk.
The
Well,
GPS.
What I mean.
I wanted you to go over there. I didn't want you to walk into a hole.
The GPS told us to keep going.
October. About October.
Yeah, let's dodge that with that comment, please.
I
mean, I'm as crass as you can get, but damn.
Okay, what I was meaning is I set it up so that the podcast, it comes out every Monday. The little problem of on Monday is 9/11.
Yeah, we're going to make out something funny. But you know what? If you honestly look at it, if you're constantly in mourning with tragedy, it's like right now, like with all these tragedies that happen with schools and everything else, you know what? Let's just say like the ones that, they actually catch the guy before anything happens, I'd be celebrating.
Oh, yeah.
I would be celebrating because that would show they don't control the day. But no, it's all about mourning and tragedy and mental deficiencies, and everybody needs to have quarts of Maalox and medication. It's like, show them that they can't win no matter what they do. Can't stop the celebration. Just for once. That's one thing about the Turtles. No matter how much bad they have to deal with, how many times they save the world and people hate them and throw stuff at them, they still celebrate. They're still a family.
With their pizza!
They go at the end of the day, go, who's got room for pizza? Yeah! And it's like, it shows that the bad guys can't win because, the way I look at it, if you keep on mourning, we should remember and not allow things to happen. But we should celebrate.
Never
That's one
forget.
thing I always respected about being Irish, part Irish myself, even though I'm Scotch-Irish. Mostly Scotch, but the Irish,
The whiskey?
The whiskey helps.
It helps. It helps.
But the most part is that during like a funeral or a tragedy, they celebrate.
Yeah.
It's like, celebration of life. It's like, look, these things should these things happen? Hell no. But bad people are going to be here, and they're going to use every excuse on the planet to do what they want to do.
To try and keep you down in the dumps.
Keep you down in the dumps because they're miserable.
Yeah.
So they want to, misery loves company. So I'll be like, you ain't getting it.
Exactly.
Celebrate,
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's the way I look at it. That's the best defense against them, besides kicking their ass and throwing them in jail.
Yep.
It's how we deal with the Shredder. We either beat him the fuck up, slice off his head, and then we have pizza afterwards.
Exactly. We're going for pizza.
Whipped cream and anchovies. Hell yeah. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to talk about the half pipe.
I'm not.
Sewer pipe.
I was going to say, I'm not even going to lie. There's a cookbook out there that I actually do want to get, and it is the TMNT cookbook.
Oh my god, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Cookbook of what to make pizza. Oh my god, I remember that.
I
actually read that thing. It wasn't at, because there wasn't a Barnes & Noble where I lived during the 80s. It was Walden's Books. And it was in there, and I was reading it, and my mom was like, we're never making anything. We're not making a whipped cream and chocolate sprinkled pizza. Ever.
It's just a pie.
Just buy a pie.
I can buy it for $20.
You will
now.
not buy it for $20.
If you
I will
buy
give
that-
you no money to not buy it.
I have money.
No.
I will give you no money to not buy it.
Dude, I will go, Vig Rhymes in Pulp Fiction on you, like a pair of pliers and a blowtorch if you buy that.
He pulls it out of a briefcase. Today we are, and he just dies instantly.
Then I guess I better slide this book back.
then I won't reveal it to you guys today.
I was gonna say, could you imagine if I had done that previously? Of just like as I say that, I go okay and pull it out.
You would die. You would die.
Speaking as the major collector of the group that actually collects shit, don't buy that. I mean, if you want to buy some Ninja Turtles, buy like one of the cool toys back in those days. Buy one of the figures. Buy all 4 of the original figures and put them up there like I have. Of course, I have the originals and I have the remake. Of course, I don't have all of my originals because of some members of my family. That was supposed to be returned to me.
Not present here.
Not present here.
He is safe. But the last thing
he was there.
He was
I
there.
existed.
Guilt by association.
But the last thing I want to talk about with the Turtles is just that it had such a strong existence that it was so surprising when you told me that it didn't have an actual like ending. Like no final episode.
It never has an ending. It never really and a lot of the 80s cartoons didn't, even though they went so long.
Yeah.
Really didn't have ending. Even the Transformers, they did have an ending towards the end when Optimus Prime comes back, and Galvatron and all that. But they get this weird disease that only attacks the Cybertronians and makes them all go insane.
Oh, God.
So they open up the Matrix, which has the wisdom of all the Transformers from the past.
Yeah.
That was the only cure. And they realized and even Galvatron, they didn't destroy Galvatron, they reached peace. Like, we'll coexist, no more fighting, no more war.
Yeah.
And that's how it ended, which is a good ending. But Turtles didn't really have an ending, Thundercats didn't have an ending. I don't know if Speed Racer had an ending. I didn't get too many Speed Racer episodes when I was younger. Even though they said it was a great show, I think I only saw like 2. Because Speed Racer wasn't really on because, I'd get up, my thing was Transformers, Ninja Turtles.
You wait for Speed Racer to end to then start watching Turtles.
I know Speed Racer, my dad liked it because he grew up with that. And I also remember reading that, unfortunately, when it came to Speed Racer, that was the show that kind of inspired every joke about anime you've seen when we were growing up.
Well, Racer was one of the first, I would say, like, true anime, even though Transformers, they didn't count it as anime, was anime.
Yeah, the way that they designed, the way
they designed them and how they were drawn. But still very 80s, you could tell, how the workers and what they had, but still, it was just, Speed Racer was the first anime came from Japan, all the style, the outlandish tricks he would do in the car and all that stuff.
There's a monkey in the trunk!
In all fairness, we ought to check it out for the fact alone that the main guy, Speed Racer, is sometimes the biggest asshole, and I love it.
I remember that meme. There's just the kids crying. What are you doing? You gotta stop crying. Stop doing that. You have a lot of work to do.
Stop doing that.
Speed Racer was a complete asshole.
No.
I'm like, but that's what I heard from that too. But for me, actually, what got me started in anime was, and also an older anime, which was Lupin the Third.
Lupin the
Hell
Third.
yeah.
That's the one that really got me started. I thought it was, he's very vulgar, he's a womanizer, he's always after,
it's just so out of left field.
And I was just like, I loved it because it didn't take itself too seriously. Because that's one thing that I like, but also hate about anime, is that sometimes it gets to the where it's so serious and so just like, oh my god, how can everything go back? It's, ugh.
You bounce back from this?
Has one of my
the
favorite...
world's completely destroyed. Oh, it gets to start again. Oh, yeah. Do you have any people that know how to build anything? No. We just got a swordsman and a mystic. Oh,
we're good.
Okay,
yeah.
Got no farmers, got nothing. It's like, ooh. Yeah.
Has one of my favorite voice actors in some shows. His name's the one with the beard and the hat. Jigen.
It's Lupin the Third.
Yep.
Fujiko's the girl, and then you have Jigen, which is based off of Dirty Harry. The guy actually designed him off of Dirty Harry. And then you have Goemon, who is the old samurai who he did based off of someone, but I do not know. I know it was based loosely off of somebody. of a samurai tradition or a samurai in a show or something.
Yeah.
And that's how they have their crew. And, Goemon can literally just cut through anything with his sword because of his training. And their backstories, when you see their backstories, are pretty cool. But Jigen I always liked because he had his pistol. He could shoot anything. Always had the cigarette in his mouth. And it was always bent and broken.
Yeah.
He never had once a straight cigarette from a pack. It was always one cigarette bent. It's like, do you just slam your face into a wall or something?
Yes.
Or something? Like, yeah.
Yeah. My favorite voice actor,
the voice of him.
Yeah, you've seen him actually several times, Mayhem.
Yeah, he's in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he's Joseph Joestar, your literal favorite character, and he's also the new big bad of Bleach.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing I've always wondered about you, Duke, is that of your weird obsession with voice actors. You do realize that they don't just play one role, right?
Oh, no.
Yeah,
I know,
and
exactly. That's my entire point. I
know,
love
like,
seeing them in other
cracks me up.
roles.
You're like, oh, he's my favorite voice actor. I didn't know this person did this. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like,
he likes the surprise.
Well, now we know what he thinks about when he takes an extraordinarily long shower. Because that's the only thing you talk about. Like, okay, it's voice acting. Does he make up the voices when you're in the shower? That's what I'm wondering.
You see your 37 voice. You see your 37 voices coming.
Well, we know what he's doing. Okay, he's gonna be there a while.
He's making JoJo Part 10.
No.
God, a person that in the shower, they're just making essentially a fanfic in their head.
That's probably how he made most of the parts.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
I don't know who put that together. I think it was a bad acid trip.
Not inaccurate.
I think he might have mixed some acid with some LSD and then threw a little fentanyl in and been like, "Okay, this is a great show." No.
Yeah, you get to find out the reason why there's the actual American songs at the end of each part is because that's one of the songs he was listening to when writing. And so it's the reason why Roundabout Yes is the first outro for the show.
Okay. Bringing it back to Turtles real fast.
Yeah,
Bring it back to Turtles.
Turtles,
show.
this is my big thing I want to mention when it comes to Turtles.
Yes.
It is my favorite thing seeing the evolution of this show of the more complex the show gets, the more you see characters change in such specific ways. Like, the biggest one, the Turtles themselves.
Yeah.
Look at the Turtles here, how similar they are to each other.
They're-
The original comic, where they all had the same red bandana, and they all look the same. The entire point, obviously, the whole ninja thing of, like, look the same so that they get confused.
Yeah.
Yeah. Much
Meanwhile-
like what they called the Persians had them. I forgot, the Immortals.
There you
They
go.
all dress the exact same, so you think they just keep on coming because it's like.
Did I killed that guy like 5 times already. How is he still here?
It's
Like,
definitely
in
an
media, you
generation
see
thing.
that... In media, you also see that with, like, Hydra, where the entire idea there...
Well, that's with
you
all
cut off
armies,
one head.
That's why they want you to look the exact, especially in the army. That's actually what the tradition of shaving the head came from. Is that you're all the same.
Yep.
You all look the same. You act the same. And it's like, so because you're a one unit, and that's how it kind of works. In all armies, that they want everybody to look the same.
Unless there's marketing, then everybody looks different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're doing marketing, that's different. You want them to look different because why you want to buy the same figure? But I would love if they. I think they did once, and I missed out on it. And this was actually recent. Not recent. Maybe about 5-6 years ago. They came out with the original Turtles with all their red bandanas. They look just like the comic.
Oh wow.
I didn't pick them up, and I still slapped myself repeatedly over it.
Yeah.
I did get the pop figures of those.
Yeah.
The only ones of the pop figures I didn't get of Ninja Turtles was Bebop and Rocksteady.
Oh.
Because by the time I got to them, they were like $150 a piece.
Huh.
And I still have a hard time paying $150 for a really goofy looking pop figure.
Yeah. I was gonna say though, it's my favorite thing when it comes down to it, seeing the evolution of like the biggest one, obviously the Turtles. You go to the original and they're all about the same level of goofy, and then obviously before that exactly the same, basically. Then you go after that, you get the movies where they're starting to show the differences a little better, especially with Raph.
Especially with
That's the
Raphael.
one where they got most distinct. Of like Raph is completely opposed to the ideas
And he's
Leo
definitely
gives.
the one that's most evolved through the series as well. Not only in the first series, but the other series as well, and the movies, is that he was always crass, very tough, sarcastic. But now he's muscle bound to where he's also still crafted, but he's also the muscle one.
He's the muscle,
strongest.
yeah.
He's the one that will pound your
Yeah.
face, and he's got temper issues, which started with the first movie that he was the angry one. But what I loved about once again with the one with Megan Fox is the way they put that part in when they're facing the Shredder at the top of the building.
Yeah.
They worked together, and that was actually in the first comic book. Is where they're like they couldn't defeat him one-on-one. He was kicking their claws.
Yeah.
So they teamed up and did the the buck and all that stuff, and that's how they defeat him, is them working as one unit.
Ah.
And I always thought that was a nice little homage. See, that's one thing I like about some movies when they do it right. It's like when you put something in there that's like subliminal. It's not like, oh, we're just gonna ram it down your throat. Like right nowadays, it's like if they have a character with a distinct character issue, whether it's community or this or the fact that they wear glasses or they're in a wheelchair or whatever, that's their main thing. They're making that one thing like that's all they are. It's like, well, I'm this. You understand I'm this, right? You know, I'm understand. You understand I only have one foot.
I am
one
one.
foot, and that's what makes me so great because I have one foot. And it's like they shove it into your face so much to where it's not where it's like.
It's no longer celebratory. It's more look
it's,
down on me because I'm this.
Well, no, it's to that point that somebody's like, it's like when you meet that one person and they do the one thing right and they talk about it for 3 weeks to where you want to punch them in the face, where you're like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, that's even running jokes in like that one show, Big Bang Theory, where, you know...
Bazinga!
No, not Bazinga. When the guy goes up to space and he comes back, that's all he talks about.
Oh.
And it's like, we don't care! It's like, okay, we get it. You went to space. That's great. Fantastic. Move along. That's not the only thing about it.
We get it. You went to space. Yeah.
But, you know, it's like subliminal things that they, you know, and like some things like when they're worried about, like some people are pure puritanical, like with, even with the Ninja Turtles, they're like, well, Megan Fox wasn't a redhead. I'm like, well, Megan Fox is so good looking, who cares? But then they go the extreme opposite, like this new show that came out, and you're like, wait, she doesn't need to be horrendous. You know,
nobody
style is horrendous.
The new movie, everything just looks wrong.
Everything just looks wrong. It's like I said, like, okay, did we have a bad fentanyl party?
The only ones that look okay are the turtles themselves.
I hate to say, the way I look at it honestly is looking at the animation reminds me of Flash.
Well, not only that, you know, you look at it like the turtles, they make them look like they're old. Like, you know, they went a little bit too much. Now, I know real turtles, they have all the wrinkles and the veins. They're reptiles. They're
I got a good way to compare it. It is the Sour Patch. It's the, what is that, the Garbage Pail Kids of movies.
Duh!
Yeah, Garbage Pail Kids. Oh, my God.
That's what the art style reminds me of.
those.
Garbage Pail Kids.
But, so anyway, that's my whole take on it. It's just the simplicity of it that makes it great. Even though you look at it and go, oh my God, that's kind of corny and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, lame jokes sometimes like, oh man, what else are we qualified for? Just saving the world, you know, and it's just the simpleness of it is what makes it great.
Exactly.
It's just, you know, bad guy, good guys, fight it out. Sometimes one's confused and think the good guys are bad guys once in a while. But still at the end of the day, everybody likes it. You know, it works. And that's what made it great.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite shows for the simple fact of Turtles is the one show you can watch evolve over time.
You can watch it evolve, and then seeing what happens after... Seeing what happens to the series, the franchise, everything afterwards is fine. to the series and franchise afterwards, and just seeing how it's very broad, and it's amazing, has hilarious jokes, but overall, you're not going to the 87 for anything really.
You mentioned
deep.
it. You mentioned it the other day. Salt Lake.
It's a Salt Lake. Yeah, it's a Salt Lake with that just rained on, and it's literally like a mirror of the sky. It looks amazing, but obviously you're only gonna get your feet wet.
Yeah, you know, you're not being thrown the deep end of the pool, and I think that's a lot when you get with the 80s cartoons, is you don't need anything deep.
Exactly.
I think that's the great part about it, is that you don't need to be, oh, I need this super deep story. Kind of like, you know, even though some people despise the show, it's like Sword Art Online. After a while, it's like, could we just stop with, like, we're all dying here? Or, you know, or that one other one, Attack on Titan, where all they do is scream for 3 or 4 seasons.
And then they stretch it out for 50 years.
It should have ended 2 years ago! We still haven't seen it!
See, you know when you haven't seen, nobody ever wanted the Turtles to end. That's where it shows Turtles and some of the 80s cartoons stand the test of time, because when you have shows to where the point is like, is this gonna
That just
end?
work.
You know, I mean, even like The Walking Dead, great show,
Oh,
great show. But towards the end, you're kind of like, is this ever going to end?
it needs to
They-
stop.
yeah,
It
they-
needed to stop.
Just
Yeah.
stop.
They
The
needed
point
to,
they had to realize, like, okay, we ought to stop now, is when they started doing the fake out deaths, and it's like, okay, we're done.
Yeah, it's like I got bitten by 3 zombies, but I survived because I threw myself in a mud pit.
because I'm okay. But yeah, what's next, Duke? Question with Mayhem. My question is, if this was to get an end, would you consider Shredder's Revenge, the game that just came out recently, the story that's kind of in that? Would you consider that to be the canon ending to the 87?
I think
it's getting a DLC.
Stuff for the show, but I think that will be a good canon where they're finally defeated.
Yeah.
You know, and like they're permanently stuck in Dimension X or something like that, where they just can't get back. Like the Technodrome's destroyed, and they're just stuck out there. Be a good ending for them to be stuck out there in Dimension X without a Technodrome, without no means of coming back.
Yeah. All
And
right.
it's like, okay, they're done. They're out there with the rock people.
It's
Oh,
getting
wait,
a DLC
and I
with it's getting a DLC with Karai and Yojimbo.
Hell yeah. All right. Wait, Duke, favorite character?
Oh, my favorite character?
Yes.
Honestly, Leatherhead. I'm
Leatherhead?
gonna be honest. I love Leatherhead.
Of course, gotta be Raphael.
Raphael?
It's Leatherhead and Shredder, yeah.
Take a guess.
Michelangelo.
Mutagen Man.
Shredder.
Shredder as well? Okay, yeah.
Shredder, and then visual, it's Bebop.
Fair enough.
Well, what's next, Duke?
What's next? Well, 2 things. One, we've got Thundercats next.
Thundercats!
As well as,
Ah!
if we want to keep doing more Turtles, we got 2003.
Oh.
Which we'll probably just do the first season. Yeah.
Oh. Very
I
nice.
don't remember the 2003.
I'm excited.
I thought the other one. Is 2003 the ones where there was CGI?
No,
No.
that's 2012.
Okay, that's 2012. That one I started watching again. I watched most of that one. And, but 2003, if you guys can find that one, I will gladly watch 2003 because I never saw that one.
Heck yeah.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, so much for watching. If you liked it, subscribe for more, and we'll catch you next time. Meanwhile, we're going to go play more Shredder's Revenge. Yeah. I'm picking Casey Jones this time. If you want to see more of our content, you can find our YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter on our Linktree at linktree/greenvillains. That's linktr.ee/greenvillains.